kind of a smartass. I apologize. I think it's my years of in operations, being able to joke all day, to being in front of a computer. I still have to get it out somehow. And my wife says I am not allowed to be a smartass at home.
And you'll fit right in.
Yeah. And by the end of this, I will be making fun of you when you do silly things. I promise. If you have full freedom, when I do something, you can poke as much fun as you'd like. It's fair game.
Cool.
So, Olathe, what do you got?
Well, I'm a fellow smartass, so welcome aboard. So a couple things for me, or the two biggest things for me, and I think Matt already kind of touched on one, is the inventory updates, and making sure that the new items get put on and how to move. And I still have old items on some of my inventory sheets I need to get rid of, and I'm not really sure of exactly the process of going through that. The other thing, and this has come up as a recent hot button for my group, and Matt's aware of this, is exactly who's responsible for putting in the pricing in the DL. With in order to get an accurate food cost, all the pricing that we're paying on these items needs to be correct. And it seems like, for me, at least in my experience, that it's really not as much a Cisco issue as it is, produce and liquor. And, I'm just not exactly sure, and you can, I'm sure, clear this up, who is responsible for updating those prices, since we can't do it at the store level, to make sure that when we do our weekly inventory and we do that our costs are up to date and accurate. Those are my two big things.
One sec. I'm just making sure I take notes so we cover all this. All right, Wes, you'll be surprised, Vince, how much freedom you guys do have in the system to control a lot of that. And I'll make sure that I walk through all those points, and you see what you're able to do. So, Lance over in West Wichita, what do you got?
My concerns are almost right in line with Matt's. Not having the proper items when we go to inventory, things like Dirty Blonde, Naughty Brunette, Drop Dead Redhead, not having the correct items when we invoice it, to be able to count it and have it not show a variance between what we actually rang in with those buttons on the POS and then what we inventory it as, because we've been inventorying it as the Shiner Box when it's actually a Schlafly now. So there's a wash, but it would be so much easier to look at it and not see those huge variances, and have to make sure that those variances line up to make sure that our variance is accurate, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. I mean, the data, you can't understand what you're missing, what you're growing, what's wrong. You look at a piece of paper and it's just a bunch of ink on there, and you put your hands up and it is what it is. Our food cost is just how much money we spend versus what we make.
Right. And I guess other things that kind of head scratchers after doing this for as many years as most of us have, is things like Chipotle mayo. Why we count it by the ounce, by the volume, instead of just by the quart, like all the other things that we make, like cocktail sauce and tartar sauce, things like that, are by the quart, and then randomly thrown in there is Chipotle mayo being counted by the ounce.
Okay. That is one I will get with. So I'm sure you guys all know Don Koski, our director of operations services. So Don and I are pretty much besties around here. We spend a lot of time together going through this. He's the liaison that goes out, and I get the comments of, hey, counting Chipotle mayo by the ounce is stupid, and if you don't fix it, I'm going to throw it at you. So then Don's the one that goes out in the field, and he does some of the testing. I do some here in DFW, but Don in his travels, we'll discover the reason why we do it. Maybe it's the lack of needed prep for that item, so you really don't have much on hand, and we do make changes. I mean, if it makes sense to make changes and makes life easier for you guys, for sure. We'll make it happen. You just understand all of it is global. So if it makes sense for one person, it's got to make sense for everybody. But again, we're not opposed to, we could theorize about everything and solve the world's problems in an afternoon. But when it comes to reality, we're just a couple of knuckleheads in a room. So, Beth, what do you have out in East Wichita?
Well, good morning. I'm pretty much on the same page as everyone that has already commented. Just being able to inventory accurately after we print off our sheets to send off to our corporate. It's just kind of like, okay, I don't know what we just read and how accurate it is. We'll just wait for our P&O to come back from corporate. Like Lance just said something about the liquor and beer. I have some liquor that doesn't even have an extended price. I have some that it's just off the chart. A bottle of Welsh Scotch is $120. So just little things like that to help us figure out how we can make it more accurate for us to read. It's really what I'm looking for.
Okay. That can all be done. And I believe we have a Billy on the phone. What do you have? Billy?
Bueller.
All right, Billy, we gave up on you. I'm over you. And Jeff, do you have anything?
I pretty much am in the same page of what Juana said, is just understanding what I'm reading.
Okay.
I have some price discrepancies as well, and it's just kind of like what I'm reading on the paper is not real to what I have in the store, and I'm just trying to better understand how to fix those problems.
Okay.
Nick?
Yes.
And hey, sorry,
Nick, I have one more thing. Just go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, sorry I'm late on the call. This is Joe from Maplewood. I'm pretty much in the exact same boat with everybody else as far as wanting 100% accurate inventory. Like if we get a new beer, a new bottled beer or draft beer, how do I input that so I can count that? You know what I mean? So we just have a lot of product that's not in DL, and so I don't know necessarily how to count that accurately.
Okay, fair enough. But if these
Nick?
Yes.
I had just a bookkeeping or housekeeping issue real quick too. At some point today, can you change the access level for me so that I can log in and see all 6 stores and, open back up an inventory, so on and so forth?
And who is this Jeff?
No, this is Matt.
Okay. Access level. And Matt, you and I have a side conversation about that because we're kind of changing some processes. I don't want to make sure you're in the loop, and it's only to help the stores. So I won't go into all that, but it's just the timing of things, and it's to help keep the system flowing, because we've all had those Mondays when we try and run reports and it just spins through your computer at somebody. So that's kind of what I want to make sure you're in the loop on, and then we'll change your access. So if you, Matt, when you should have my number. If not, I'll get it to you. And you're over in Maplewood today?
I am.
Okay. Let me add you to my to-do list here. You can see, bro.
I appreciate it.
This is just my to-do list from this morning. I usually get here about. So if you guys need help, let me start that way. So because I've been in ops so long, I know what it's like to feel like you're sitting on an island, and you got all these problems and nobody to solve them, and nobody around to help you. For Texas Wings, I was a GM that went around the state and I got the crappy stores. They said, oh, there's a food cost in Texarkana. Can you figure it out? Sure. I just broke up with my girlfriend. Oh, we'll stay a little longer. I lived in a hotel for 16 weeks trying to fix issues. You know, so I've been there. So if you guys, I get here at 6 o'clock almost every morning. I'm readily available. You know, I'm pretty much available till I put dinner on the table. And then after that, I go to bed because I'm old. But if you guys need something, you send me an email. You can call me during the day. If you haven't heard from me, I don't mind if you follow up or just send me a question mark reminder. My wife has to ask me things 50 times. If you have to ask me twice, it doesn't hurt my feelings. All right, so here we go. We're going to get started. So let me tell you what DL is. DL is a food cost management program designed around a financial system. All right, and what that means is there's two sides to it. There's a financial side and a food cost side, an inventory management side. Typically, we use them in conjunction with each other because you got to spend money and bring in money to figure out what your food cost is. And that all starts by receiving. And I spent a couple of days looking through some historical stuff for you guys. I've noticed some areas of opportunity already. And a lot of it is what you guys had brought up. It's things like, you know, adjusting our order guides or inventory guides, making sure things were on there. You know, seeing odd counts and variances where you shouldn't. You know, with your comments, it makes a lot of sense on why it was done. So I'm gonna bring it all the way down to the basic level of DL. You start with an ingredient. An ingredient is anything. We'll just talk about you know, a keg of Bud Light. All right. So a keg of Bud Light is an ingredient, and I could build that ingredient, and you use it by the ounce and count it by the keg, but it has no value because it's not attached to a distributor. A distributor and a vendor are two very different things. A vendor is somebody like an electrician. It is somebody like a plumber. You get restaurant supplies for them. A distributor is somebody that distributes products to you. All right, so that's the difference. So when you guys talk or you hear me talk or you know we communicate, a vendor is somebody that doesn't give you products; it's a service. A distributor is somebody that gives you a tangible item to sell. So what happens is I have to take that ingredient and build something called a bid file. Maplewood, can you give me one of your beer distributors?
Oshwan.
Who?
For West Wichita.
Who?
Sorry, it's Gray Eagle.
Okay, so we'll go to Gray Eagle Distributors, and I'm going to zoom this in a little so everybody can make sure they can see just fine. So here's everything available from Gray Eagle I have. All right, you can see the description, the category, the pack size, the price, and when it was updated. So these are all fairly new items, right? So when you guys send me information on the product vendor request, which please grab the new one from Peaks Point, fill it out completely, makes our lives so much easier, because I do the DL side, and then Kevin Ferguson does the Aloha side. So we got to have the right information to work with one another. And I'll drill down into, and you could see kind of how things are built out. So I have my Budweiser, my description. Then what I have to do is I have to tie it to my ingredient. I have to say what it is. You get one bottle, you count it by the case, say you count it by the 24, and then I put in the price. This is the price you guys give me. If you don't give me a price, it's going to be $1, okay? Now that can change. So that's how products get added. And that's where that product request form comes in. It has everything in there that we need to build out the product. Then comes the order guides, and then we're going to jump into ordering home. So for Gray Eagle, right here, we know that we have Bud Light or Budweiser keg in here. All right. Now, one of you had mentioned that, and who was it? Price is not extending. I think it was you, Beth. Price is not extending. Like you put a count in for an inventory item, it has $0 value. The reason why it doesn't have a value is it's not on an order guide, which means you probably can't receive it. If it's not on your order guide, this is the bridge. The order guide is the bridge from inventory to receiving. And it's what carries the price over. So if it's not on your order guide, you guys won't get an extended price. So think red flag, no price, email Nicholas, send me who you get it from and what item it is. And you guys can email me at support@fbrf.com. I get every single one of those emails, whether it's for me or not. It goes to my inbox. We have a program that tracks them all. You'll see those automated response emails. And they're not automated. We send them. They're just formatted weird. Also know that sometimes we ask you questions through there, so do be aware of that. It's not always just, hey, this is finished. So this is where your order guide comes in. This is your pool of products you have to put into your ordering guide. Now we're going to go to ordering home. Where were we? West Wichita?
Maplewood.
All right. Maplewood will be our store today. So Maplewood. So here we've got our ordering home screen. We know our Cisco items to be received here. That should be we'll talk about that in a second. Your order history here, you can click on something, take a look at the detail over here. All right. You'll be able to see the invoice number, the order received, this purchase order number. Make note of that. We'll get in. So your guide setup. So for those of you that are seeing products on your inventory that don't extend, I want you to check your order guide over here and see if you can find like Wells Scotch, whatever it might be. If it is not on this page or in one of these locations, you will not get a dollar value for it. And it's an incredibly easy fix. All right. So with ordering, that's why I always start there. It's the most important thing. Because if you put garbage in, you're getting garbage out. We enter our orders here for Cisco, right? We all know how to do our Cisco orders. We know how to receive our orders. Now, I will give you some caveats to your Cisco orders. This is where I see a lot of people make errors. Let's see. Maplewood, are these all old invoices?
Yes.
What's the one from 610, Joe? Because that looks like a current one that would have been part of the inventory for last week.
Yeah.
Hang on. Sorry, my computer's slow as hell.
No, you're all right. I'm gonna play with it, but I'm not going to save it. So as Joe's sitting here and he's looking at his Cisco invoice, he needs to go line by line, and he needs to look milk. I ordered 2. Did I get 2? This column right here is not changed by Cisco. It's just copied from what you ordered. So if Cisco decides to short you a couple of cases, you guys need to change that to 7 and then change the status to temporarily out. It'll automatically change the extended price. It'll change your order total. But you guys need to be going through and making sure that we have the correct information in DL that is on your invoice. All right? You even need to check prices. Now, prices are updated by Cisco every Friday. However, sometimes they fluctuate. If it's a couple of pennies, don't worry about it, because your budget is based off the checks you write, not these numbers over here. Okay? We have found that recently Cisco has stopped putting out of stock on their invoices. So instead of saying, I didn't have any barbecue sauce, they just delete it from your invoice. And if you're not going line by line, you're going to go ahead and receive it, and DL is going to add 4 gallons of barbecue sauce to your inventory. And then the issues are compounding. So the first thing you guys need to start doing this week is making sure that our Cisco invoices are all correct. All right? Does anybody have any questions on how to receive a Cisco invoice? Catch weights?
Hey, Nick?
Yep.
If the invoice says that the barbecue sauce didn't show up and it's not on the invoice, won't there be a order total difference?
Yes.
So you'll be able to tell, I mean, there'll be something wrong when you're receiving if the order total doesn't match the invoice total, correct?
Yes. Because this isn't a manual receive, and when we do the manual receives, you got to put in the invoice number, click the box, put in the invoice total, and the total have to match. So there's that
right.
that double check. When we do an order through Cisco and we get an electronic invoice, those numbers don't necessarily have to match for you to post the order. So it won't prevent you. It'll still let you make a mistake. So any questions about catch weights, changing something if we didn't get it? How about questions on substitutions? Does everybody know how to do substitutions?
Yes. I believe so.
Everybody? So
Maybe.
We'll just in case, right? So let's talk about, let's see, we'll find something on here. Flour. So flour is typically a 25-pound bag, and you ordered 6 of them. However, this week they didn't have 25-pound bags. They sent you 10-pound bags. So instead of you doing one of these, where you're like 6, that's 150. But I got 10, so let me just put it 60. That should be the same. It's not the same. Don't start manipulating this by doing crazy numbers to get the math to work out. At the end of the day, it's fine for the invoice that's received right here, but when it comes to the inventory, it absolutely changes the inventory value of the product. It changes the inventory value of the product, and you're hurting yourself. So what you can do is, let's say for the flour, I guess that was a bad one to use. Let me use mayonnaise because we count it by the gallon. So instead of sending you 2 cases of mayonnaise, they sent you a 6-gallon case. So what you would do is you would put in 6. This number, this right here is your inventory measure. It's how you count it. So if you'll find things like chicken breast, it's by the pound. So you would put in, if you got 20-pound cases instead of 40-pound, but you got 6 cases, you would just put in the total number of poundage you got and the total price, total extended price. All right? So if you guys ever have different pack sizes of something, if you ever have questions, you can always hit that substitution box. You put in the total quantity you got by the inventory measure and the extended price. Does that make sense to anybody? Any questions?
No, not on sub-items.
All right. So Cisco's pretty easy. The last thing with Cisco, we all know that, we don't order perfectly. Plus, sometimes we're just busier than normal, and we might have to do a will call. Cisco will always invoice you. Like gangsters, they get their money. All right? You still have to enter those items in your inventory, even though you didn't order through DL. So to do that, that's where you do the manual receive. You'll notice with Maplewood, I can't create an invoice because DL knows you always get an invoice from the gangsters of Cisco. All right. So we're gonna make an order for. Let's see. All right. So we're gonna talk about manual receives real quick. So manual receive is it's two folds. All right. So I use this as an example. My wife sends me to the grocery store and she says, Nicholas, go buy us $100 in groceries. I say, okay. I come back, I give her the receipt, she puts it in the checkbook, and she goes, what'd you buy? I said, I bought groceries. Well, what'd you buy? I bought meat and other. And she's like, but what are we having for dinner? I said, I don't know, I bought food. What I did was I just did invoice entry. I did a very generic blanket. It went to food, or it went to meat, it went to other. And then she put it in the checkbook or the invoice history, right? That doesn't help our food costs. It'll help our food costs. It won't help variances in research. And it won't help you guys manage what's going on with your inventory. So my wife is pretty smart and trusting. And so the next week she says, Nicholas, I want you to go to the grocery store, buy $100 in groceries, but I want ribeyes, a Caesar salad, some wine, maybe some bread. And I say, okay. So the next week I go to the store, I take $100 and I buy her some ribeyes and salad and everything. And I give her the receipt. She writes it down in the checkbook and she goes, hey, what did you buy? I open up the refrigerator and I show her everything that's in there. That's a manual receive. I manually put things into my inventory or my refrigerator and I wrote a check and paid a bill. This is where I'm going to jump to this, and this is where we find out this COGS reconciliation report. Maplewood, you're going to get picked on, all right?
Good.
So this is where we find out if I got what my wife told me to get at the grocery store and I paid the bill. And according to you, Maplewood, you bought a whole lot, you got a whole lot of groceries and didn't write a check to anybody. And I'll tell you why. So I'll zoom this in so we can see nice and clear. So here's all the categories. Here's our COGS. Our COGS is the refrigerator. It's what we have in our inventory. Our invoices are the bills. It's the checks we paid. Variance after invoices. So what that means is you got $741 of seafood, but you only paid $623 in bills. So either you've got some outstanding invoices that are going to come back to bite you in the rear, or you got a 5-finger discount on everything.
Yeah.
All right. Now, one of the ways this happens, so we'll have to jump back. One of the ways this happens is when you're doing in manual receives, let's say from Liberty or whomever, all right, then we have a Fabulous Fish. Somebody is not checking this box. Okay? This box is the pay the bill. It's pay the bill. All right? If we're not checking this box, we're not creating an invoice. Now, I'm not sure how your accounting company works, because I know you guys have an outside company, right?
Yeah.
So you probably just send all your invoices to them. You send all your invoices to them and they process it. So bills are probably getting paid. But the problem is, if you're not checking that box, you're not able to use the COGS rec, and you're not able to check yourself and to see if we're getting things in correctly. So this week, we look like we did a little better. right, with some of it, but now we're on the opposite end of the produce, okay? What this means here is, this is you going to the grocery store, you buying $1,000 worth of produce and leaving it on the counter, going home, having a beer, your wife says you go grocery shopping, you say, oh shoot, it's all sitting in the grocery cart in the parking lot. So you have $1,300 worth of produce missing from your inventory. So now you'll see we start compounding where you've got extra stuff in your inventory, then you've got missing stuff in your inventory. So now when we go to run reports, we're not going to know which end is up. Okay. So
Okay.
this COGS rec report is critical. And this is what our focus is going to be for this week. And I'm going to check on you guys every day, and we're going to all review them next Tuesday. Because you want the value of what you have in your refrigerator to match the amount of money you spent in your checkbook. And if you're off a penny here, a dollar there, it's okay. Every once in a while, you might see a little credit because it's an electronic credit from Cisco. You know, but when we're talking 1%, no big deal. You know, we're looking for, why am I off $192 in poultry? That looks like, to me, we paid for a case of chicken, or maybe two, that we didn't actually put into our inventory. So now you're already off 2 cases of chicken in your inventory, and you're hunting down product that you don't even know exists. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yes, sir.
What kind of
Yes, sir.
What kind of questions do we have about this?
I just have one little question. So when Cisco, if you do a will call, and we don't do a lot, but if you do, then how are you able to put that one in?
That's just going to be through manual receive. Good question.
Okay.
Hey,
Creating an invoice.
no, you don't create an invoice. So when you do a Cisco order, your Cisco house seems pretty good, but every once in a while, when you receive that Cisco order, you might be off here for 1 day or half a day, because our electronic invoicing sometimes gets logged down. You might see thousands of dollars in here. Maplewood, sorry, but we did week 1. I doubt their invoices are that slow. But you might see a variance for a day in your current week. No big deal. It'll get corrected. If it's not corrected in 2 days, then we've got an issue. So for your question about how we handle manual receives, and I've got some documentation for you guys on how we're going to correct this. All right. Actually, let's do that before we do the Cisco thing. The Cisco's pretty easy. You're going to do a manual receive, put an invoice number, put in the date, and just pick the products out. You don't have to worry about creating an invoice. You don't have to worry about, changing much. You're just going to put in the couple of products you ordered, and then save it. All right. We'll walk through it, but it is easy. So let's see. Has anybody received any invoices this week? Bueller?
No.
East
No.
side has.
Who has?
East side should have.
East? Nope, you got nothing.
Rats.
Wow. Rock stars yesterday. Hey, it was Monday. It was inventory. It's a long day. All right, so let's. Oh, Latha. Wow, very nice. See, that's what a COGS rec should look like. You guys should pat yourselves on the back. That's good. I like that. That means there's less chance of having issues when we're looking at our variances. They're going to be what they are, and then we could start investigating why. Okay? Versus Maplewood, sorry.
Hey, it's okay.
Looking at yours, much better. But let's do this. So I'm going to pick on Maplewood. So the first thing I'm going to do, and you guys can do this every day. You can do this every day. If part of your opening manager's duties is invoices before you leave, this is gonna be what you do. You run the COGS rack. Well, you're off $274. We've got extra produce. So what you do, you can print this screen out. I actually just take little pictures because I'm like that. So all right. So you're going to go two places. We're going to go to our invoice summary. We're going to go by account, and we're going to look for last week. Okay? And we were off in produce. So I'm going to look at my produce account. I've got 4 invoices from Liberty. Okay? Right there. And here's the trick. I know that they were all entered through manual receipt, and somebody clicked that little box because of this PO number here. This is generated by creating a manual receive, and it's the number that ties the two ends together. Okay? Versus, I bet if we look back at your first week, Maplewood, at some of those, you won't see purchase order numbers in there because nobody clicked the box. As Brad Pitt says, what's in the box? That was fun.
I love that movie.
All right, so then we're going to do our cost of goods sold report. Who here uses the cost of goods sold report?
I think we all do.
Yeah.
Okay. What do you guys use it for?
Yes.
Do we use it just to get our cost of goods?
Yeah, beginning inventory, ending inventory in reference to having a starting point and ending point for our accounting.
Okay.
So they're mainly using it for the ending and the beginning inventory dollar amount.
Next week we're gonna dive deep into it, but there's a lot more to it. So when you drill down into your cost of goods sold, you'll see here's your inventory count, or it's case quantity, but your quantity by the price. So let's say you've got something that's got an astronomical price of, is celery really $72.50 a case? Maybe it's $900. But it's a way to spot errors in your beginning inventory. You'll see all of your orders right here. Okay, all your orders are right in the middle. What's the first thing you notice, Maplewood?
Sorry, say that one more time.
What's the first thing you notice that's different there versus up here?
5 against 4.
5 against 4. So you stole a bunch of produce last week. Good for you. But that's all right because we can change that. This means it's in your refrigerator. This means it's not on your bill side. So we'll look through, and it looks like this 274. Someone forgot to check the box. All right, and then you can start drilling down into your orders. Make sure prices are correct. And again, here's your ending inventory. If we were running this for last week, you can see your beginning inventory, ending inventory, and try and see where those crazy astronomical values are. Because when you will end up with $80,000 in blue cheese because somebody put a catch weight in wrong. All right. So to fix that, Maplewood, we're going to go to invoice entry. All right. Invoice entry. You're going to create a new invoice, and I'll let you do this since you have all the information. Maplewood, why do you only have Cisco? Is that all you have when you go in there?
Invoice. Wait, where are you at right now?
Invoice entry.
One sec.
Take a look for me. I just want to see if something's messed up on my side.
Okay. You'll have to bear with me. This computer is ridiculous.
No, you're okay. So I'll just, Chesterfield. So what you would do, so let's say Liberty Fruit Company, we're going to go here. We'll put in the invoice number, invoice date. Invoice date has to be the date that you received the product. Because if it's Monday and we're catching this, number one, we didn't prep very well for inventory. Number two, it's going to go into this week's inventory. We don't want, or this week's finances, we don't want it. We want it to be where it belongs. So you change that invoice date, you'll put it in, and then you'll just pick cost of sales, produce, and you'll put it in. Then all of a sudden, that COGS rec will balance out. And you'll know you've got the right amount of groceries for the right amount of money you spent. Does that make sense?
Yep.
All right. So that's the first key for you guys to making sure. So let's look. Maplewood, let's look at you. So more than $5,000 off for the period in your COGS rec. $500 Chesterfield. East Wichita. A little over $200. Guys aren't too bad. Independence. Not too awesome. Maple, oh, we already picked on you.
Yeah.
We should probably do it again. Olathe, pretty good, but could use some improvement. All right, based on $94,000, sitting at 0.5%. I could probably live with. Some people could live with that. I'm OCD. I even initial my grocery list when I get home. It's just habit. That's not good. Having $922 off in other poultry. So this week, you guys, I want you to focus on the COGS rec. I want you guys to go to Peaks Point. And actually, you know what? I will just email all of the stuff you guys need for this week. I will email you guys some PDFs, and they are, I keep them one sheet. I walk through them. I have somebody else walk through them. So that way it's just not me thinking it makes sense. It's real people. Here's what they look like. So it'll say your COGS rec. It'll give you an idea of what to do. If your COGS rec is off one way, you do this. If it's off the other way, you do that. It's a step-by-step. All right? So this is something that we need to be doing every day. All right? The next one I'll show you, inventory preparation. So this is something that should be done every week. You should be doing your COGS rec and receive price report. And I got two things we'll go over, and we'll wrap it up for today. Okay, so your COGS rec is your most important thing. You guys are all going to be perfect on it next week. If you got questions, I am available. Okay? So we talked about prices and pricing. So how many of you have put in a produce order or a liquor order and you change every single price on that receipt?
Not every price, but I've changed
Maybe,
several.
yeah. Maybe not every.
A lot of price.
Enough to drive you crazy, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So there's something called the received price report. Now remember in the beginning I showed you the bid file. The bid file is where that's the market price, the ideal price. Okay? However, that's not the received price. And then the way I kind of explain the bid file or ideal price versus received price, you know, when you go out and you drink a bunch of lemonades and it's 20 and you know your tab's $25 and you know you tip somebody and you spend 30, you tip $10, it's $35. And when you're Ubering home from the lemonades, you think, oh, I spent $25 today. You don't factor in the tip or the $8 in hot dogs you bought standing outside the lemonade stand. It's like when my wife tells me spend $100 at the grocery, I spent $97.50. Well, in her running budget for the house, it's $100. I really spent $97.50. So the other $2.50, little bonus, right? So we're going to look actually just for last week, 5th through the 11th. So this is called the received price report. And what this is it shows what the bid file price was, meaning that ideal price we think it is, and here's the price you received it at. So Maplewood, are you really receiving Jack Daniels at $18? Yes. Okay. So we'll keep going.
Yes, we are.
We'll keep going down, but this is a great way to spot errors too. Like, look at our celery. Did it really go up $12 a case?
It was at 74 last week.
Yeah, it did.
Okay. Now let's look at carrots. Did it go from $14 to $6.25? No way. So we know somebody didn't receive it correctly. All right. We got to pay attention, because if it's set up at 20 pounds, it's set up at 20 pounds. It might be 4 or 5 pound bags, but by you just entering 625 doesn't change the quantity. It changes the inventory value. Okay? Which means less inventory value, higher cost of goods, crappier TVA. Now let's look at Naga sauce. $240 to $60. I'm going to guess we ordered a different pack size. But what you just did, or you ordered 1 gallon, you just made each gallon worth $15 instead of $60.
Okay, I gotcha.
Now you see where there's some reports in here that can really help you guys spot errors before it's too late. This report can be run once a week. You'll do it for your store. And then I'll send you the received price report information as well. So here's a walkthrough of how to do it. What we're going to do is we're going to say, hey, yes, my received price was correct, and I want it to become my new bid price. It means I want it to be my new actual price all the time. So when you put in that liquor order next week, the new price is going to be $26.70, or going to be $18.42, not $26.75. Meaning you get 2 seconds back out of your life, and you don't have to change that number. All right.
This is the most amazing thing I've ever seen. Like, why? That's crazy. Thank you.
You're welcome. I feel happy. Yeah, that makes me feel good about my life. So let's check somebody else. So let's check Olathe. So you guys, all these documents that I make are available in Peaks Point. I'm recording the session now. I'll post it to YouTube. So you guys, I don't know, I listen to YouTube videos. I got to drive home. So you can reference them. You could find points in there that we talk about particular things, but all the ones we have will be available on YouTube for reference as well. And we just got a new technical writer, so he's working on a DL manual I put together. I wrote like 33 pages in 4 days, so it's sometimes not coherent. Olathe. Okay, so when I look at these, what I look for is this kind of discrepancy. And the reason I look at this crazy discrepancy, I don't just think it is somebody doesn't know how to do an invoice. I think we're getting a different pack size. And if you do 575 into 6905, you get 12. So right now, your Cisco order guide is set up at when you order one, you really order a case. When you get it, you're really getting one. So right now you're losing your variance on Old Bay is 11 cans every time you order one. All right.
But on our Cisco invoices, they always say split. Does that have anything to do with it?
Well, your Cisco invoice says split, but no one told DL that. No one told DL it was a split, and what's happening is you order one, and your DL says, hey, Cisco, we would like a case. Your Cisco rep says, nah, they don't want a case, they want an each, and they make that change for you. But because they do it on paper, DL does it in the cloud. Nobody's sending the paper to the cloud, so it's not getting changed. So if you guys see big discrepancies like this on a Cisco guide, and do a little math, divide the price, see if it's an each versus case, shoot me, scan the page of the invoice, email it to support, and say, hey, I think I got a pack size issue. And I can get that fixed. So now when you order one, it's going to be one. And we can get that taken care of for you right away. You know, our thing in IT is give me 3 business days, but, you know, I know what it's like, especially if it affects your inventory. I do work on the weekends to make sure that, you know, Monday morning you're not sitting there like, oh, great, nothing's right. Okay, receive price report. Do it once a week. You don't have to do every single one like Bud Light. You want to go with the higher the price, so we're going to accept, and then post it. You don't have to do every one. You just have to do one for the week. The exact details on how the buttons work are in the sheet you guys will get today. Any questions, let me know. Let me check our notes, see if there's one more thing I can touch on today. Inventory guide setup. All right. This is the last thing we'll touch on, and then next week we're going to talk about fixing mistakes. This week we're gonna work on, if you think there's an issue when you receive, stop, put your hands up, send an email, because invoices can be put in any time. You know, they're not ticking time bombs. So you guys can wait till you get the right answer. We can make sure it's done correctly. Let's make sure our COGS recs are perfect. That's the big thing. Let's do a received price report. Okay. Now, where's my boy Maplewood? There you are.
Right here.
So let's look at your guide setup. All right.
Good.
So all of these locations are standard. They're global. They're for everybody. Okay. This makes me want to vomit and cry all at the same time. This
Sweet.
If you request a new product such as Maplewood's Magical Elixir, it's going to automatically go to unassigned. Well, you've got to put it somewhere. All right. And you're going to put it in the freezer because nobody's ever going to order it. So you guys need to rearrange these, and you need to arrange them sheet to shelf. It's the best way to do it. It saves you time. When we roll out, I don't think you guys are using the mobile application yet, are you?
No.
You guys will effing love this. So I tested this.
I'm using it at Chesterfield.
Okay.
I'm using it in Olathe for ordering.
Well, is it a time saver?
Yes.
We cut almost 2/3 off of inventory time at the 2 stores I tested it over 8 weeks when we were sheet to shelf. I did inventory on paper. We did it this way, did it out of order, went sheet to shelf, got better. By the end, when we were doing it on the tablet and they'd done it twice, it was 2/3 the time it normally took them.
Mm-hmm.
The kitchen manager hugged me. It was weird for everybody. So you need to arrange the shelf. You can have an ingredient in multiple locations, like artichoke hearts, dry storage, maybe you keep them on the line. Okay? So we can search for any ingredient you want. Okay? You just type it in here. You'll see these are all just test items. However, if you can't find an item, you change this box from active to all. and you'll see that more things, I'm just trying to see if something would come up. So more things come up here, like this is an active item, right? So we'll make it inactive or inactive. If it's inactive, it removes it from here. All right, so let's say sesame seeds, like you have it just in that location. Maplewood, non-active. Take the time, go through, make things that aren't there inactive. And the reason I say that is the more information you have in front of you that you don't need, the more opportunity you have to make mistakes. Because you will put an inventory count for artichoke hearts in your dry storage. And then you'll go through, and because the phone's ringing and reps are there and TPGs are trying to tell you their boyfriend's sick and they can't come to work for 3 weeks and God only knows what else, that they, you know, you're like, oh, artichoke hearts, here, let me put an 8. And so you'll make mistakes just out of being so big. So I challenge you this week too, it takes some time, but it takes one time to archive or make those items inactive. All right?
Okay. Yep.
Do not worry about these right here. I am working with DL to build a system that all liquor, all beer, and all wine will be in there all the time. Now, obviously, you know, when you print your inventory guide, you got to print certain page. You can't print certain pages. They're adding a do not print box here for me, so you'll be able to say, hey, Nicholas, I just added this beer. Oh, it's in the beer vault, and you'll be able to grab it, drag it, and drop it. Okay? Don't worry about those. Unassigned, get those out of there. All right?
Okay.
Nice, clean inventory guides. So does that explain? And if you guys, if you search and it's not in all items, let me know. Maybe I have to add it to your store. So that's a lot of information today. I want to recap. What I'm going to look for you guys, and I'm going to hunt you down and check every day. Your COGS reconciliation reports are going to be on the money. Okay? If you have questions, you are going to call me and ask and let me know. You're going to do your received price report at the end of the week, right? You are not going to blindly accept Cisco invoices. You're going to make adjustments when needed, right? And just somebody say right.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
And then we're going to get our inventory guides in check. Okay, those, you know, one's just making sure we're doing it right. One's an actual actionable task. And then next week, we're going to talk about identifying opportunities or issues, researching those issues, and correcting them. And then at that point, for the 3 weeks after that, it is going to be TVA and IVA all day. And by the time we're done, you guys will know where the opportunities lie, how to correct them, and you'll be the ones then that question everything. Is this recipe right? Did this go wrong? I can see this. Like I can tell you, I got guys now that tell me, we haven't ordered bacon smash in a month because I found out my KM is just having everybody use 6-ounce patties. He didn't know why he was growing them. We went through it. But you guys will be able to determine all that information. And I've got your list of what we want to know. We've covered a little bit of it. A couple of things I'll touch on. Timeliness. If you guys get me information I need, it's a 2-day turnaround. Okay? For getting new products added, things like that. Your reporting, we're going to go over that in detail. Pricing is the received price report. Validation of inventory ingredients. if you want, Olathe, I think that was your question, maybe. If you have something on your inventory guide that has a 0 value, you send me the name of the ingredient. Okay?
Yep.
Understood.
We'll get that solved for you.
Hey, Nick.
Hey, yeah?
On a scheduling note, so I think the group is fine with next Tuesday at 9 a.m., but after that I have dual concerns because the Tuesday after that is conference. So I don't know if that's conducive for you and us to do that 9 a.m. And I know for sure on our end, the next one, the 4th of July, we close all KC Lodge restaurants. So we will be having like an employee party. So it's not going to be conducive for us to at least have the 4th. And then I guess we need to talk about or at least see if we want to move that date to one over, or just kind of what your thoughts are.
Well, I guess my one concern is just, making sure my invite gets to the house, not to the office for the party. Probably get lost. But we could just move it to Wednesday. We can move it to Wednesday. And
okay.
If and you said next week, or next week we're good?
Yes. The week after is the conference. So
what we could do is we could probably move you guys to, I don't know if you want to do Monday afternoon. I've got a 2 to 3 already and a call at 1. I could probably move that.
Yeah, I guess the only worry I think that they would tell you is that on Monday we have a conference call from 1 to 2 o'clock, and then our manager meetings are from 3 to 4 traditionally in most stores. Some may do 2 to 3, but right through there we have a bunch of manager meetings and a conference call that are on that Monday afternoon.
Well, let's maybe we can both do some shifting. Because I'd like to do guys Monday afternoon, because that's when we're really going to be hitting IVA, TVA, and I don't want to push you guys, because I want you to start understanding everything. You have a week to look at it before I start nailing everybody on their TVAs in week 4. So,
okay, so on Monday the 26th, we can just kind of schedule around you and maybe take it 3 o'clock. Is that what we're saying?
Does that work for everybody? Everybody can do their manager meetings at 2?
Yes.
That works.
Okay, so we'll keep the 2 o'clock on the 20th. We'll move the next one to the 26th on that Monday at 3 o'clock. And then how do you want to handle the 4th of July?
4th of July, we're just doing the 5th.
Okay. So the Wednesday on the AM.
Yeah.
So we're going to go Tuesday, Monday, Wednesday.
Yep. So Monday, the 25th at 3 p.m. And then July 5th, 9 a.m. And then I have everybody's email addresses now, so I will email you guys a direct link to it. And then you guys, if you guys look for me in the email, it's Nicholas, not Nick. Sometimes people email to the wrong person. So you guys got any issues, let me know. Cogs Rec, don't receive stuff blindly, and be on the lookout for a bunch of files today, okay? All right, let's have a great week, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nick.
Thanks, Nick.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nick.